Hi, as you know, I'm Kaylin, and today we're going to be fixing errors. And our errors form a very critical part of your daily hours and payroll hours. If you have any errors on your system for a specific day, the hours cannot be calculated for that day, and as a result, you cannot, the payroll hours for that employee cannot be calculated either, as it does not have a full, the full period for your payroll. So we're going to start off then. I'm going to explain all the errors that you get, and we're going to work through how to fix them and what each one means. So if you go to your red stop sign, the minute there are any errors in your TNA system, you will see a red stop sign. If there aren't any errors for your, in your system, it'll be a green go sign, and you know that everything is okay for payroll. So if we go to our stop sign there, I'm going to set this date back then to our payroll period. Let's just see, we're going to say from the 3rd, and my payroll is up until the 9th, for example. And here it will list all the errors that are in that payroll period. So these are the ones that you have to fix in order for your payroll to basically calculate the hours correctly for each employee. Now obviously if there's an error on one employee, it doesn't necessarily affect another employee unless there's an error on his name as well. So we're going to go through these errors, explain. There's basically 4 different types of errors. The first one you've got is the employee has an invalid shift code. The second one is missing daily hours record. Third one is the employee did not clock out. And the fourth one that you get is a wrong clocking direction found. Now let's start off with the top one. Employee has an invalid shift code. Basically what this means is you've perhaps added a new employee into TNA, but not yet assigned a shift to this employee. You've enrolled this employee, he's clocking on the clock, everything is going well, but he doesn't have a shift allocated to him, and therefore the hours cannot be calculated for him on a daily basis, and obviously then on a payroll basis as well. So if we want to fix this error, the easiest is to highlight that, and you click on Fix. This will take you to whatever the problem is. In this case, it says employee doesn't have a shift, so it'll take you to your shifts screen. So we can then click on the question mark, and we're going to go and add a payroll shift for this employee. This asks you from which date do you want to add this payroll, this shift. I'm going to put it then just say from the 1st of June. I want this employee to be on the shift, and I want to go and allocate him to the 8 till 5 shift. We can just leave the until date because I want him to pretty much be on this shift forever until we terminate him. So we can just click on OK, and then we can close this window and click on OK on this one as well, and that error will disappear for that day. Now you'll see then for that same employee we have multiple of the same errors on different days. Now you know that you've actually allocated a shift to this employee, so there's no need to highlight each one and click on Fix and highlight and click on Fix. The easiest way to then just get rid of all the rest of them is to click on the Reprocess All Errors. Now you'll see that there's 21 errors currently in the system. We're going to reprocess it, might get rid of a few others as well, to then get rid of these extra invalid shift code errors. So let's just run through that, and we can see that our number of errors are actually coming down. Now the missing daily hours record usually goes with the employee did not clock out. So you'll always see on the same day there's going to be an employee did not clock out, and there's going to be a missing daily hours record. So what I'm going to do then is we're going to go over to this one and click on Fix, and in this case the employee did not clock out, so he obviously doesn't have outclocking. We need to add one for him. Now what we can see is if we go and look here on this line, we'll immediately see a red dot, and that is basically showing you where this error is. So on that day we can see that this employee only has one in-clocking and no outclockings. So I'm going to go and add a outclocking for this employee. Make sure that your date is correct. This date will always default back to your from date. So you want to make sure that this is actually select the correct date when you're adding a clocking then. Otherwise you're going to just cause the system to have more errors because you're going to add then duplicate clockings for a day. So we're going to put this for 6 o'clock, and I'm going to make this one, this clocking for 5 o'clock, and it's a outclocking. I'm going to leave it a paid clocking because I want him to get paid for this. Info clocking, just for interest's sake, is let's say this guy went out and you wanted him to clock just so that you can see what period he's been out for, but these clockings don't actually need to be used for the calculation of his payroll hours. But you want it there as a record, so you would only select info clocking then. And obviously untick the payroll clocking, pay clocking. Job clockings is used for job costing, and obviously your access clocking would be, for argument's sake, like your turnstiles, where you've got access control and all that. So we're going to leave it on pay clocking. We can put in a comment, or we can put then, if we've got default reasons, employee did not clock out, we can select that, and we've got our clocking added. So now we're happy, we've got one in clocking for that day and one out clocking for that day. As soon as we click on close, we will see that that error will disappear. Now you'll see that the missing daily hours record has disappeared when we've done the reprocess all errors. That's just because it runs through all the errors and checks then all the ones that have been fixed, and that it'll obviously then just reprocess that. Sometimes it'll not actually then remove that. Usually if you just looking through your errors each day, you'll see then that employee did not clock out and the missing daily hours record. Now if you've got one of those and you need to remove them after fixing these errors, you can just click on the reprocess all errors button. Okay, so we're going to just quickly fix this one again, just to go through it again. Highlight, fix. We check where the error is. The error is on this Thursday. Same thing, the employee clocked in, but he did not clock out. So I'm going to go and add a clocking. Once again, please make sure of your date, that it is the correct date you're adding it for. And we're going to add another clocking for 5 o'clock, and it's out. And we can close that, and that error should disappear then. Then we move on to the next one, which is wrong clocking direction found. Now this error then says that there's 2 in clockings after each other or 2 out clockings after each other. So basically it doesn't have the correct direction in terms of in, out, in, out. Once again, we highlight that error, we click on fix, and it'll take us to where the problem is. Now if we take a look at where the red dot is, we can see on the 7th, if we go one line up, on the 7th we've got a clocking, and it's an in clocking at 7:23, and then we've got another clocking for 7:56 on the same date, and it's also a in clocking. There's a deleted clocking for the 7th, which is at 16:58. So it might have been that previously this clocking was deleted incorrectly, that the person actually wanted to delete this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remove this one because I don't want that extra clocking, but I want to reinstate or approve this clocking again because this is actually the valid clocking. I'm going to highlight that clocking and click on change, and then you'll see at the top you've got approved, pending, and deleted. Obviously because it's previously been deleted, it'll be highlighted there. So just to activate this clocking again, we can click on approve, and you can change any other things if necessary, and also put a reason in here if that is required. We can close that. Let's just double check. We've got a in clocking for that Friday and a out clocking. As soon as we've closed the screen, then that error should disappear. So I'm going to just fix this one again just to go through that. For another one, we check where the error is. Also on the 7th, we've got 2 in clockings for the 7th. Now here is a clocking for 8 o'clock in the morning and also one for 5 o'clock, but it's a in clocking. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight that clocking, click on change, and we're going to change this to a out clocking. Once that is done, we click on close, and that error has disappeared. Now obviously you'll see that there's no errors displaying in this window anymore, yet if you go and look at the bottom you will see that it still shows there are 2 errors. Now usually the best way to do that is just to move your from and to date slightly back. So let's just take a chance, choose that. Obviously there's nothing there, and let's go and select it up until today. And there we'll see there's another error there. So we can then, those errors, because your errors are all fixed within your payroll period, at least your payroll will run correctly. It's always best for you to just, let's say, come in the next morning, find 15 minutes, of your day and fix yesterday's errors. It's also a little bit easier to remember what happened yesterday as opposed to coming month end and you've got to try and remember what happened in the first week of the month, why this guy didn't clock out, etc., etc. So let's just go and fix this error. So employee did not clock out. We can add one, for, let's say, 4 o'clock. And, oops, don't make the same mistake I did. Remember your dates, very important. Just double check, we've got in clocking for the 13th, a out one for the 13th, and we can close that. Obviously there's another error somewhere in my data set, which is a little bit further back then. Once everything has been fixed, we can actually just, let's go and check back. I'm going to just go crazy, set it all the way back to there, and I'm going to fix this error quickly so that we can see once all errors have been fixed. First of all, just check your date, out clocking, and let's just make it 12 o'clock for argument's sake. 1 in clocking, 1 out clocking, close that, and we have got 0 errors. Once we don't have any errors in the system, you will see that that will change to a green go sign. Now once that green go sign is there, then I would say it is pretty much okay for you to go ahead and check your hours and do your payroll then. So this is obviously the first step before you even start taking a look at those hours, because of the fact that the daily hours cannot be calculated of an employee if there are any errors. So this thing, it'll have 1 day's missing hours here, and obviously then as a result, like I said, your payroll hours will also not be calculated. So then if you've got your payroll extract that you export, you've got some errors, basically what's going to happen is you'll have these employees that have the errors, don't have any payroll hours, and they won't be exported to your payroll system, and obviously then not get paid. So it is extremely important for you to fix these errors. I hope you've learned something today, and that I will see you next time. Goodbye.